Hey guys, welcome back to our 100-day challenge, and today is day 18 where we are going to talk about AWS architecture. We are going to talk today about AWS Global Infrastructure, where we are talking about regions, availability zones, edge location, local zones, and data centers. And next, we will go through some technical architecture. Next, we will see how this global infrastructure features like regions, availability zones, and edge locations helps in our technical architecture while we are designing the solution for our organization. So quickly, let's start. So first thing, let's understand the global infrastructure. As you know that AWS operates a global infrastructure that spans multiple geographic regions and availability zone around the world. This infrastructure is designed to provide high availability, fault tolerance, low latency access, or disaster recovery solutions. So here you can see few terms like regions, edge locations, and data sets. So what exactly the region is? Let's understand regions. So AWS is actually divided into multiple regions. Whole infrastructure is actually divided into regions. You can see here in the dots in the map, which is a separate geographic area which is in the world. So there might be a US East, West, or Europe region, or we can have Asia Pacific region, and there are many more. So right now, as per today, on AWS website, it's a 32 regions globally available with 102 availability zone, and it's spread more than 200 countries and territories. So these are the regions where we deploy our solution. Let's see how it will be defined and configured all the components within the region. If we talk about availability zone, what exactly the availability zone? That each AWS region is further divided into multiple availability zones. So you can treat this availability zone like a data center or cluster of data centers with redundant power, networking, and cooling, everything. That's why it provides high availability and fault tolerance. If we talk about availability zone within a region, which is a physical separate and isolated from each other, and the minimum three availability zones are available within a region. Okay, this question you can get it in your certification exams as well, but it's need to understand minimum you require three availability zone in a region, so it's available there in AWS. If we talk about edge location, what exactly the edge location is? AWS has a network of edge locations around the world that are used by Amazon Cloud Fund. This is a content delivery network service to cache and distribute content near to the end user. That's why if you configure your edge location, then latency of your website or web application is very less, so the user can easily access on very rapid speed. So edge locations are not same as a region or availability zone. It's used for content caching and low latency access. If we talk about data center, it's actually a physical location within an availability zone, we can say. Availability zone is kind of a logical unit or logical cluster of a data centers, and data center is actual physical location. So normally in terms of defining or designing solutions, we always use the word availability zone, not the data center. But with behind the scene, what is happening? Data centers are physical location, and there might be possible that within a availability zone, one data center is there or multiple data center. Availability zone is kind of a logical layer for your data centers. Next is AWS local zone. So what exactly the AWS local zone is? It's actually used for running latency sensitive application which is needed close to the end user. How it works? You need to enable AWS local zone, then you can extend your existing AWS VPC virtual private cloud to the AWS local zone, and then you can build and run your low latency application within that AWS local zone. This is how it works. So AWS local zones are a type of infrastructure deployment that places everything which is required for your application like compute, storage, database, and other services which you need near to the application, or we can say near to the your end users. That's why you get low latency to access your application. So guys, let's see the AWS website where this information is mentioned. And the thing is, there might be possible that you are watching this video in future. There might be chance that the count of regions and availability zones are increased or changed. So it's better always go through the AWS site whenever you want to design your solution or looking for updated information. So you need to go to AWS Global Infrastructure. In the overview itself, you will get how many regions currently they are having, how many availability zones they are having, and even you can see in the map as well. Here the green ones are the regions which are already launched. You can see the location when it is means launched and the number of availability zones these are having. Okay, and you can see there are upcoming regions also. So we are having different kinds of local regions. As I mentioned, it is used for sensitive application which require low latency, and we can have some 29 wavelength zone as well, which is required for ultra low latency applications. So there are different kinds of options we are having. As I mentioned, 200 plus countries and territories it's served, and we are having 115 direct connect location. What is direct connect location? That means they are connected with the fiber optic cable. So it is providing like within a same organization you are working, if even your resources are spreading between different locations. So if they are direct connect location, then you will get the low latency always. So this is the side where you can also understand what are the benefits we are having with this global infrastructure. You can explore more things here. So here you can go to individual section and explore more. So guys, I hope you find this video helpful. Now let's go back to our session. Now let's talk about how our infrastructure is helping our technical architecture. So it here you can see a reference architecture. Here I'm taking an example of one region, one availability zone, and we are putting component which is required for our solution within that one. So how it is defined? If you see the external layer here, that is the AWS region. Okay. Within this AWS region, you can see there is a dotted line which is availability zone within, and we can have three availability zone within a region. If you see the next part, that is VPC, which is having the CIDR of /16, means it is a separate network within your AWS account. Okay, this is separating your different org type, or you can say you can divide your infrastructure into multiple organizations kind of. Okay, so we inside that one, if you see, there are public subnet and private subnet. Public subnet is here, private subnet is here, and then you are having from internet gateway. What it do? It has your instances or services available within the public network to the internet. So it will help to connect that one. So this is how we are defining with one availability zone, where our Kubernetes master nodes and auto scaling groups are in private subnet. If you see the Linux based host or elastic load balancer in public subnet. Why we keeping this ELB in public subnet? Because it need to be required connected to the internets. So that's why we are putting here. And these are the thing component which will not be accessible from the internet. That's why we are putting in a private subnet. So this is how our infrastructure technical architecture is defined. If we place component within a single availability zone. Let's talk about another reference architecture. Okay, here you can see within a region you are seeing two availability zone we are using. Inside two availability, in one availability zone you can see you are having net gateway, net instance, and another other components we are having Amazon RDS host. In other availability zone we are using these components. Okay, these are the similar one. If you see, so what is the purpose of using two availability zone here? We are having similar components, right? So if in case one there is some issue with one availability zone, our resources can access these component which is available in availability zone 2. So it's mainly used for high availability. Whenever we are talking about the global infrastructure in AWS, these are mainly used for high availability, fault tolerance, or disaster recovery purpose, right? So this is how when we are spreading our infrastructure within two availability zone, we are having the connectivity to our elastic load balancer. Then the traffic will route from here to your required application and the component. So this is how we define with two availability zone. We can have the similar kind of architecture with three availability zone. So it's having the same component what we are having in one availability zone. So this type of infrastructure, when we are using multiple availability zone, it's providing topmost high availability solution for your organization. So if something happened wrong with one availability zone, you no need to worry, because similar components are available on other availability zone. So it's a big, depend on your requirement, how much critical your application is or services is. According to that, you can use how many availability zone you need, or where you want to put your application and services. This is how we define our global infrastructure and our technical architecture. So guys, that's it in this video. In next video we will deep dive into more concepts related to AWS. We will talk about the core services, which are compute, network, storage. So there are a lot of things we need to discuss in AWS. So see you in next video. Till then, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep transforming. See you in next video.